speech of commemoration for Montana Wildhack. Have you ever met a person that you just knew would change your life forever? Have you ever met a woman whose beauty, style, and sense of adventure preceded her? Have you ever met a little lady, a sexy Sadie, whose knockout looks and sex appeal were just simply undeniable? I have met just such a wowzer of a woman on a trip to the zoo on Tremelfador. It is with great sadness today that I must honor this amazing woman's life while also bringing closure around the untimely death of the one, the only Montana Wildhack. To tell you the story of the life of Montana, I must first tell you about Billy, her little plaything. I live in New York City, and I met this boy named Billy. Billy was walking up and down the street in Times Square, kind of mumbling to himself, kind of talking to whoever would listen. And as I walked toward him, munching on my reuben sandwich from the Carnegie Deli, I decided to see what Billy was talking about. I already knew that his name was Billy because he kept saying, "My name is Billy and I need to get to Tremelfador. I must meet my Montana momentarily." Cautious but intrigued, I approached the man and began to hear the story of his sordid affair with Montana Wildhack. Shoo-wee! The things he claimed they did together would make your toes curl. He grabbed me by the arms and he told me, "You must help me find her. She has my only child in the zoo on Tremelfador." All of a sudden, Billy started to convulse. He hits the ground. He goes into full-blown seizure. "Montana!" Silence. As the paramedics removed Billy's cold, dead body from the sidewalk, I made my decision right then and there. I would go to Tremelfador. I would find this Montana Wildhack, and I would let her know exactly what had happened to this Billy character. I also forgot to take my meds that day, so I was feeling a little more adventurous than normal. I decided that I must fly to Scotland. To get to this Tremelfador, I would surely have to travel through time. The only place I knew of a portal through which to traverse time was in a particular stone formation near the Highlands of Scotland. I had a friend named Claire who traversed time so that she could be with her soulmate and lover Jamie. If Claire could do it for Jamie, I could do it for Billy and Montana, for surely their romance was equally as sensuous. I decided that jeans, my checkerboard Vans, and my 9 Inch Nails t-shirt, and a flannel, which I happened to be wearing, would be appropriate for time travel. After my flight landed in Scotland, and my friend Roger drove me to the stone formation, he asked me, "If you see my Brianna, will you tell her that I love her?" I rolled my eyes, and I replied, "Roger, go buy your own flannel and checkerboard Vans and tell her yourself." Sheesh. How many star-crossed lovers can a girl deal with in one day? I knew that I only had enough energy for Billy and Montana, although to hear Billy tell it, my energy level would pale in comparison to Montana's. I placed my hands on the rock facing the open field, and all of a sudden, a raging thunderstorm started dumping buckets of rain on me. I held my palms flat against the rock, and all of a sudden, in one split second, I see lightning strike the top of the rock, and I feel the electricity travel like a freight train through my body. The next thing I know, I wake up, and I can only see white. I feel like I must have been at the bottom of a bottle of vodka, but I am fairly certain that I only forgot to take my meds and did not end up on an all-night bender. I digress. Again. As I brought the room into focus, I saw her, the most beautiful bombshell of a woman I had ever seen in my entire life. She was wearing a leopard print French maid's outfit and had a leopard tail sewn to the back of her skirt. Boy, she had legs for days. She certainly was beautiful. Miss, are you okay?" she said. "Let me help you back to our cage." Our cage? Did she just say our cage? Before I can answer, she is dragging me by my hands across the floor of this white room with black curtains. Suddenly, I'm in a heap on the floor, and I hear a creaking cage door slam behind me. Slam. I stand up to protest and realize Montana's in the cage next to me. Wow, what luck I have. Over the next 2 years, Montana told all. She told me about the wild fling with an earthling named Billy, and when I told her that I was with him when he died, she began to weep. She told me that her life had only begun 5 minutes before she met Billy on his trip to Trmalfador. At least I was able to confirm that I had made it to the right place and that Montana Wildhack was no phony or figment of Billy's imagination. I am here today to deliver the speech of commemoration with a heavy heart. I woke up yesterday morning and the infamous Montana Wildhack was just dead. I wish that there were more to tell you about Montana's life, but it seems she was only cloned for Billy's sexual pleasure, gave birth to his child, which happens to have been put in a similar cage, and she had been crying in her cage ever since the birth of their love child. Every now and then, Trmalfadorian families would pass us in the zoo, eating balloons and kite string and drinking motor oil to wash it down. They always looked like they were enjoying the view. I don't actually know Montana's cause of death, but I suppose that either she just died peacefully in her sleep, or the Trmalfadorians poisoned her food because, honestly, she talked too much. When they came to my cage this morning, they handed me this laptop and said, "Winkle, waka, waka, wah." It simply meant, in Trmalfadorian of course, that I needed to write this manuscript in order to commemorate the one, the only, Montana Wildhack. I was to make sure that I recorded and posted this speech for a grade by midnight tonight. I am saddened by her death, but the stories that she has filled my ears with over the last 2 years will leave me with topics to write about for the rest of my life. Speaking of the rest of my life, when am I going to get out of here? Slam! Oh, I have a new neighbor. The Trmalfadorians have already filled Montana's cage. Wait, I'm feeling very sleepy. And I see a laptop being slipped into the newbie's cage. I hope that someone will post this